didn't know you were here. I'm gonna do a series, a mini series on June time about, Jaws 1 to 4. Have you seen Jaws, everybody? If you haven't heard of Jaws, well, you're probably thick, because everybody knows about Jaws. Even when I was a kid, about the age of, well, not really a kid, but when I was a toddler, I was scared of sharks. I know that every single young person might be thinking, oh, yeah, sharks, they're scary, because I don't know why. But then they grew up thinking, I know why, because my parents are scared of Jaws, or my parents are scared of Jaws, and worse, Jaws, a shark. So, yeah, I was scared of this, even though I didn't know it was a thing. And, many kids nowadays grew up with Baby Shark and think, oh, Baby Shark, that's wonderful, and stuff like that. So about the lawnmower where it's making a noise. Because my next door neighbour is mowing a lawn and I don't know how to shut up. But I mean, yeah. So yeah, this is the Junior Jaws, everybody. I'm so sorry if you see any reflections on the cover of the DVD, but this is Jaws. Jaws 1 to 4. Think about it. And I got the whole entire box set, as you know. So we're going to discuss about Jaws 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Today I'm going to discuss about, talk about, or my view on the first ever film that made cinema history, and it's nothing to do with Marvel, nothing to do with Star Wars, and sadly nothing to do with, well, other classic films that I like and you like probably. It's about Jaws, seriously. Our, blockbusters at that time was like really, but this was a big thing. You know what? As machines go, this probably made less noise than what's going on outside. So my next door neighbour is mowing their lawn, and I'm so sorry about that, but hey ho, weirdos out there. So if you're watching this video, guys, I'm so sorry, but could you shut up with your mow lawn? It's just annoying. So this is what I think of the first movie, Jaws. Jaws to me is really, really good. I like number 1 and number 2, and that's it. Number 3 and 4 is, well, 3 is and 4 is rubbish. But people have their different opinions, and even though opinions come across to different viewers, I'm thinking Jaws is already rubbish anyway. People say that 2, 3 is also rubbish, but I mean, like, 2 is good in a good way, not in like a meh whatever way. But I do like 1 and 2. 1 and 2 is the best, and 2 and 3 and 4 is like rubbish. So I don't know how I can disagree about this film. I don't know. So George, what can I say about George? Shut up. This is gonna be in the whole entire video, sadly. So I don't know what to say about Jaws, because I mean, like, my favourite bit about Jaws is that when I was a kid and I watched it when I was originally 12, and it was my favourite thing. Like when I was in the shower not really in a shower, but sometimes I had a bath when I was a kid, when I was 12, and I often played. No, not really play, but I kind of played and kind of not played when it came to when I was 12. And I took the Mickey out of Jaws. I was a huge Jaws expert. I wasn't a fan. I wasn't like a huge Jaws fan or anything like that. I'm not 80s and 70s persons or kids, so I don't know. So, but I mean, like, if I do like Jaws up to this day, I hugely love Jaws. But why is it still doing this? I don't know. But look, I'm sorry. The shark is not working. The shark is not working. I just watched all this behind the scenes of Jaws, even on the first movie settings bit. You know when sometimes you have the behind the scenes stuff, and some of the bits they say, especially the one who plays Hooper in Jaws, he says, "The shark is not working. The shark is not working." I like it how the lawnmower outside is driving me crazy. So I mean, like, everybody else who made this film, obviously, was so cheesed off with, you know, everything else to do with shark, and it was really, I don't know why, because if I was on set, I'll think, calm down, you lot, okay? And this is, and for some reason, Steven Spielberg, I thought that this movie was going to be rubbish, and everything else, like the producers, editors, well, not really editors, but everybody else thought this is not going to go good. But when they made the film, it was a big thing in the 70s, and in the 80s it wasn't really a thing. They just took the mickey out of it, and then 90s something like the same. So I mean, like, you know, 70s were a big thing, not just Star Wars, not just to do with the hippies and stuff like that, but it was also to do with Jaws. And some say that they don't want to go in the water because of, you know, this stupid thing. So I'm just saying that I hugely love Jaws. I'm not saying I'm a fan of it. I'm not. It's like Star Trek. I love Star Trek to bits, but I'm not a big fan of it. I'm a fan of Stranger Things and Star Wars. That's it so far, anyway. If you're watching this in 2024 or probably 2030, if YouTube's still a thing in the future, I'll probably be a fan of something else. But I mean, like, you know, but I hugely love Jaws, and I mean, like, you know, even, you know, 1, 2, and 3 is on there, and like the fourth one's rubbish. But yeah, so this is what we're gonna do in the whole time of June time. So June of Jaws. I was gonna say Jaws of June, but it makes no sense whatsoever. So put the June of Jaws. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, so the story is, so Christy dies, and the boyfriend doesn't really know till later on, the next day or 2 days later, and a chief boater comes along and say, "Oh my God, it's a shark attack or boat attack," but he doesn't know it's a shark attack yet, and the boyfriend doesn't know it's a shark attack, and we don't even see the boyfriend later on. Sorry if you can't hear me, the qualities on the video is a little bit rubbishy, so I'm so sorry. But yeah, Hooper and Quinn comes on later on because there is lots of situations at the beginning of the film. It's just like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory and all those sort of films when they had to put stuff at the very beginning to sort things out for later on standards. And that's what kind of movie it is. So I do like the idea with Jaws. I haven't read the book or anything, so I don't really know what the book is really all about. But I know the book is different because, well, not because books are originally different than the film, but I mean, like, I know that some bits in the film are different because in the film they just at sea non-stop 24/7 or something like that, but in the book they go back forth, land sea again, so they keep on searching for the shark, and everybody got killed but not Brody, alright? But in the film just 2 survived. So, you know, So I do really think that the film was really good. I know that people keep on thinking, we keep on seeing lots of mistakes and stuff like that. I see lots of mistakes in every single film I see. So it doesn't really matter about Jaws, because I know that some mistakes in some 70s films, like the Poltergeist or what it's called, The Exorcist has got loads of mistakes in that. The Poltergeist has, especially in like, I don't know, the fourth one, the third one or something like that. That was a really rubbish one. You know, when they're in this sort of hotel place or something like that. I don't really watch the film, but I watched the film, you know, later on when I was a kid, you know, in a different country, because I went on a holiday and stuff like that to my family. Other parts of my family in another country. It's a long story. But I mean, like, you know, but I watched loads of 80s, 70s, 60s, 2000s, 2010s. Most films from the 2010s, noughties and now, not really good, but some are really, really good. But anyway, Jaws. So, what do you think? Do you hate this movie? Do you like this movie? What do you think of it? I do think that these are one of the best series of all time, film series. But they should have stopped it at the third bit, not the fourth bit. Seriously, why they made a fourth one? Lots of money. So, yeah, please check out the film series if you haven't. So, I'm like, you know, so there's a James Bond villain in this, not because one of the James Bond villains is called Jaws, not because of that. He's in Happy Gilmore, but another James Bond villain is the one on the train in Russia with love or something like that. Anyway, so he plays Quentin in this, and by Robert Shaw, I think it was. His name is. And Hooper, I wish he was probably. If I was like a fanscription or fan story maker or whatever, I'll make sure I'll put him in the fourth one. Or if there might be a fifth film, they're highly likely there won't be. But you know, I'll put him in 4 or 5. You know what to do with bum 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 bum. Jaws. So, you know, but no, he doesn't come out in the third one. I don't want him to be. I don't want him to be in the second one. But I guess he needs to be in the third one, fourth one, probably. I'm not sure. But I do like characters like that who need to be in another film in the Jaws franchise. You know what I mean? But no, he doesn't come back, obviously. So that's a shame. But yeah, I do like this film. I feel like it's really, really good because I'm not really telling. Okay, so this month I'm not really going to tell the story because everybody knows the story, and if you don't know the story about Jaws 1, 2, and 3, and 4, you got a problem because you probably haven't seen a movie in your life, alright? And you lot new kids and new teenagers like me. I'm not really new. I'm old, but you know. If you haven't seen these sort of movies, you're probably, you know, missing out because it's not like Friday the 13th, and it's definitely not like, you know, other scary films. It's one of those, you know, thriller ones, but you can deal with it. And if you can't deal with these sort of films, well, you've got a problem. But I mean, like, you know, but do you? But I do like Jaws. I think I've done it best with the bits in the film with at the beginning you didn't see the shark, but you can tell the shark's coming by the wonderful John Williams music. He also done Jaws 2, apparently. I do like. Out of all the Jaws films, I like number 2. Probably because that's the only Jaws franchise sort of film that shows somebody's emotions and he can't deal with the fact that something to do, I can't really remember, but something to do with you know Brody. He has this sort of annoyance and he's having a mental breakdown, and I feel like apparently in real life the actual actor had a mental breakdown. So it's not really him acting in the film. It probably was legit. But I mean, like, but I do like the second one. But I think that this one's better, even though it's not my favourite out of all the Jaws films. So yeah, I do like Jaws, but I can watch it a lot, and there's always something different when you watch these sort of films. Some films you just see it all before, obviously, but there's some bits you haven't seen before in a film. So that's really good with this film, Jaws. That's all I want to say. I do think that this film is one of the most famous, the famous best films ever made. And if you search up Jaws, it won't come up with the one out of Happy Gilmore or the James Bond villain side of them. You know what I mean? It would just come up with the shark. Boom, boom, boom. So yeah, it's really popular. It's like Alice in Wonderland, the 2010 version. It comes out, with Google. It just comes out with that version. It doesn't come out with any other. So so Jaws is really popular, even on the internet. So yeah. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. I didn't talk about the plot really because I just didn't feel like I have to, and I don't think I have to deal with the second one, third one, fourth one, because everybody watched all the Jaws films, hopefully. If you haven't, well, please buy it, and then you understand. Alright, anyway, see you next time. Hello guys, welcome back to another June of Jaws. Jaws of June. Don't know what we're going to call this series at the moment anyway. So what I'm going to review today is Jaws 2, as you know. I think it's a really good sequel. I know some people think it's alright, it's not the best, but it's alright. And I'm like, I think it's one of the best sequels ever made when it comes to that era, when it comes to horror films. And it's one of the first ever horror films in the 70s that pulled it off really, really well. Because at the same sort of time, there's Friday the 13th 2, and then there was other Halloween films, and and Jaws 2 is kind of better than Jaws 1, but Jaws 1 is the ultimate one, and Jaws 2 is, Jaws 3 is, and Jaws 4 is rubbish. So I do love this sequel, but I think it's similar to other sequels that we saw before. But this is my first ever time seeing Jaws 2 as a sequel. I saw this film millions of times. The first ever time I probably watched it was 2017, because my parents and I went to another person's house for Christmas, and guess what's on? They had a Sky TV. We have a different smart TV, but they had Sky. Anyway, so what they had on the television for Christmas, in a different room anyway, so I was not really, so I was in another room, just chilling out, whatever I wanted to do, kinda. Like, you can't really do anything in another person's house, but you know what I mean. And I watched Jaws 2, and I watched Jaws 1, I think, the first time I watched it, I think it was 2015 or 16 or something like that, and I was not a big fan, but I really hugely loved Jaws. And then I watched it, and it was nearly night time, and I feel like I had to watch the end of the movie. And now I got it on like airplane look. Stopping now, but yeah. So then I got it on the box set. yeah, the box set of Jaws. I really do like the sequel. So the story is, I'm just going to say, the story is really, really good. So the opening, like the first ever bit of the film, the opening some kind of hotel with a swimming pool, and then all the teenagers do lots of activities on boats. Some of them get killed, some of them survive. You know the drill. But the only major thing in this story is Brody. Brody has some kind of illness or who has a mental horrible feeling about the first shark or something like that, and then he gets fired from the beach or whatever it's called when he was basically shooting nothing but just waterfish or whatever it's called. So that was weird. I like it how they do that in those sort of movies, but and then they say, no, you can't do this, you're fired, because this is what you think and this is not what it is. And that's what they did when the character says to Brody, okay, it's something else. And the mayor in this movie, well, it's the same actor who played the first mayor in Jaws. And I mean, like, you know, so, okay, for some weird reason, he doesn't believe him again. And he's the only one who's gone to search out for the second shark that isn't related to the first shark. That is Jaws, or Bruce, or whatever you want to call it. So, I do love this sequel. It's one of the best sequels ever made. I'm not saying this is the ultimate sequel, but it's kinda is. I don't really know. But yeah, I do love this sequel. But I think it's a little bit because maybe while you're watching it several times, not in a day, not in like several days in a week, but like I never do that, but you know, but I'm like watching it several times, you know what's gonna happen, but you don't feel much different stuff in it than in Jaws, because when you see Jaws for the very first time, and then the second time, or the third time, or the fourth time, you see something different in every single scene, even though it's the same scene. Here, it's the same, but it doesn't really matter, kinda. So that's what I thought of it. So yeah, I do think that they put effort into it, even though it kind of had no passion to this sort of project. It had some kind of passion, but no passion at the same time. So who directed this is not Steven Spielberg, but who is part of the first Jaws film. So some of the extra producers or whatever they're called, not the old men, but the other young person who's directed this one, and it's, oh my god. I mean, like, even the music is kind of better than the first one. The first one, this has this dum 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 do 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 do, and then in the second one they had the same sort of music, but it's more powerful, because I think even in the plot it's kind of like, oh, it's, you have to watch it if you haven't seen Jaws to Jaws, well, 3-ish. I think they should have stopped at 3, but never mind. So what do you think? Am I wrong? Am I right? Do you think it's amazing? Do you think it's lame? Do you think it's this? Do you think it's that? And it comes to any sort of films like this, I don't know. But I think it's amazing, kinda. But when you watch it the 13th time, you think, okay, it's kinda amazing, but it's kinda got the magic, back there somewhere. So you can't touch the magic then you used to saw on the third time or fifth time or whatever, and now it's gone. It's gone back there. I don't know why. Yeah, but even though there's no, sorry about that. Even though because I keep in touch, but even though this movie has no kind of project or whatever you want to call it, you still have that sort of feeling like they put effort into it. The same with the first one, even though somebody said, and I kind of understand that, when somebody said the first ever Jaws film is going to be rubbish because it's not really good, and I understand that, but we all got used to sort of this vibe of thinking it's the best movie ever made. But this is what we say about the second film, but the other way around. It's the best film ever made, but we don't feel it. Kinda. But anyway, what do you think? What do you think? Am I wrong? Am I right? But I'm like, I don't know, but this is, I still have it up to this day in like Jaws 1 to 4. So Jaws 1, 2, 3, and The Revenge. So what do you think? Am I right? Am I wrong? Put in the comments down below. The comments are on, and I will see you all next time. You don't really see much the animatronic bits, you know, like in Jaws 4. I don't know. Yeah, so, yeah. It's more scary than the first one, though. Why are you still here? Goodbye. Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Junior Jaws. I think this is what we're going to end up with, because there's only like 3 episodes so far of Junior Jaws. I mean, like, this is probably the best intro we got. So anyway, so we're going to look at, and this is another short review of Jaws 3D, or is it Jaws 3? Because when you look at it on DVD or Blu-ray or whatever, I think it's on Blu-ray, but on DVD, I got it on DVD, and I mean, like, it's just Jaws 3. It's not Jaws 3D, because even though if you put on the cinema 3D glasses, it still doesn't work. Maybe I'll test it later on, but I mean, like, I don't know. I tried it once and it didn't really work, but I mean, like, let's try properly next time maybe. But anyway, so this is what we're going to look at today, is Jaws 3. And I mean, like, yeah. So if I wore, I'm just saying, I'm not really sure if the other Craig on this channel wore this T-shirt of Star Wars. So if I came across with this one, I'm so sorry, but it's another day. So I just want to look at Jaws 3 and what is the best and what is worst about this movie. I do like the plot and everything like that, but I do not like the effects. The effects are rubbish. Like, especially the hand bit. It goes onto the screen like this. It doesn't do any 3D effects than you see in other 3D movies, like Avatar, for example. It's like this. Because in the 80s, people were thick. They didn't know what 3D was. So I don't like those bits. I think, like, those are the waste of time. Why are you doing it? But I mean, like, I don't know. There's something wrong with this movie. I don't know what it is, but I just don't really think it's okay. But I mean, like, the only 2 movies I really love after all the Jaws movies is Jaws 1 and Jaws 2. Those are my all-time favourite Jaws movies. But when it comes to Jaws 3D or Jaws 3 and probably even 4, it's not that, you know, Jaws like. Okay, it is a lot of a Jaws movie, but it just got out of it and more like, okay, it's another plot of to do with this shark, but a baby megalodon in an aquarium. Seriously, I don't know. But at least I'm missing something here. I don't know what else to say really, because I mean, like, I looked at this movie like 3-4 times over the years, and I'm like, I do like this movie, but I feel like it's not the best and other people put credit for. I'm like, it's people put credit into this movie thinking it's the best movie ever made when it comes to Jaws, and it's not. I know 3D is supposed to be all good and everything, but it's not good. I'll probably test it in another video, probably after June time, but I don't know. But to do with Jaws 3 and if it really works with this,
and see my reaction to the 3D glasses, because I have got some 3D glasses, you know, at home. So anyway, this is what I think of Jaws 3. And okay, the plot is alright. Obviously, Roy Schneider can't be in this movie, so Dennis Quaid takes over. You know, the man who's in Dog's Purpose and A Dog's Journey, that guy, and also in The Day After Tomorrow or something like that. There's all about a big earthquake in New York. Not earthquake, big wave and everything like that. So he's in this movie and he plays Michael, I think. No, is he Sean? Michael, Sean, one of them. And he works at a SeaWorld sort of aquarium place that happens to be a good shark, end up dies, and the big ginormous mother is trying to find a little tiny shark, and I'm like, seriously? But I don't know. So obviously you can tell it's a puppet, half animatronic, but probably model. But I mean, like, with the other ones, you know it's an animatronic, but you feel like they're sharks. You feel like they're actual sharks, especially in 1 and 2. But in 3 and 4, it just feels like half shark, half, well, prop. Well, with Jaws 2 and Jaws 1, it feels like half animatronic and half shark. But here, it's like half prop, half a shark. Even though half is more like 1 and 2, I'm just going to say half because that's the only thing I've got in my head at the moment. It's definitely not quarters. But I'm like, I don't know. There's something about this movie that I don't like to do with this big puppet Megalodon, baby Megalodon, something. And I just don't like it. The way he just like opens its mouth and he goes, right, and like, yes, I'm going to turn around like that. And then I'm going to shut back in and do this. I don't know why. But the effects are not bad, it's just probably dated a little bit. And I don't like the outline of every single thing. For example, the hand, it just went into your face, dare I say. And I mean, because it's not really, it's more like, oh, guess what, it's moving, yay. But I'm like, I don't know. So I'm like, yeah, I do like this movie, but I hate it at the same time. I clearly think that Jaws 4 is rubbish. But with Jaws 3, it's okay, it's passable, it's not the best. Obviously, Jaws 1 and 2 is the best, but Jaws 3 is and Jaws 4 is But I don't know. Clearly, they should have finished it off with Jaws 3 and not Jaws 4, because Jaws 4 is mainly just a rip-off of the franchise, but maybe. Even though it's not a rip-off, it's got the same character, same sort of theme, but probably out of date, even though it wasn't out of date. They just didn't have a proper story, and if they did have a proper story, you know what I mean. It's the same sort of thing, but I mean, like, it's not a rip-off, and I was going to say it's a rip-off because it is a rip-off, really, you know. But I mean, I don't know. Some parts of Jaws 4 feels like a rip-off, and sometimes, you know. But there's a Jaws 3 we're talking about, or 3D, I'm not sure. But anyway, so I don't know really what I'm going to say about this, because I don't really know. But I mean, I just want to talk about this, however I can describe it, because what I do love about this movie is that how people talk and people interact with what they're going to do next with this horrible shark, and thinking, oh look, that guy got killed for some reason who worked then, like, oh no, the one who got killed off in the first bit, and then he just floating around on the water when all the girls were screaming at him dead in the window or whatever. But more like, yeah, I don't know. So it's clearly the 80s. I'm not sure what else I can think when it comes to the 80s. There's lots of good 80s films and most dated, like, 80s films, especially, like, stuff like Star Trek and all that rubbish. But I'm like, well, it's not rubbish, but, you know. But I don't know, there's something wrong with some 80s movies, and this is one of them, okay? So, what else can you do? So yeah, I'm not going to tell you the plot because if you haven't seen Jaws 4, no, if you haven't seen Jaws 3, you can't tell the difference really. We can, but I mean, like, you know, but if you haven't seen Jaws 3, gotta check it out. But I mean, like, not because how good it is, because it's not good, it's okay, but I don't know, it's not my cup of tea. I'm more into Jaws and Jaws 2 when it comes to the Jaws movies, but Jaws 3 is not really, and Jaws 4 is definitely. So I don't know. But what do you think? Put in the comments down below, and I'll see you all next time for another my reaction to Jaws. But really, it's the Junior Jaws, but that doesn't really make any sense. Neither does 3 and 4 really, but never mind. See ya. Bye.
Hi guys, welcome back to another video. You know what that means? It's the June of Jaws, or the should have been called Jaws of June or something like that. So it's June time, and I thought maybe, you know, it makes sense to probably, you know, do another Jaws movie review. But it's going to be short this time, so yeah. Anyway, you know, talk about this stupid movie. Yeah, I think this movie is not supposed to be in the Jaws franchise, but sadly it is. I don't know why that is though. Maybe they thought, oh, because I got that box set of Jaws 2 and Jaws 3 and Jaws 4. Not Jaws to Jaws 3, that's Jaws to... The Revenge also has to be in there as well. Why? Tell me why. I don't understand that. So I really want to look over the Jaws franchise and see if it makes sense or not, and this one clearly doesn't. It's rubbish, absolutely rubbish, and I don't think it's supposed to be in the series because it makes no sense from the previous film. In the third film, as you already know, how can I say it? For some reason, they go to this sea world, and Michael and Sean has a girlfriend, and Michael has some kind of relationship with a girlfriend as well, and then they get along happily together, and then later on, he breaks up with her probably and meets up with another person. Makes no sense whatsoever with Jaws 4. And the other reasons why Jaws 4 is, why does the shark have feelings for the other sharks, for the other 3 sharks? For all they died, let's do something about it. But they're already dead, so I'm going to seek out revenge. Okay, the first one was just a shark, a killer machine shark. That was the first film. The second film was just another shark that isn't related to the other one. And then and the third one, the third shark is just not a shark at all. It's just a baby megalodon. It's a baby megalodon or something. Megalodon, you know, that shark. It's a megalodon shark. It's complicated. I'm not into sea animals, so I don't really know the history behind these sort of sharks, so I'm not sure. But that's number 3. Number 4 is like, okay, this unrelated shark from the Bahamas or something like that, it's not related to the other sharks, but apparently it is. And I like it how in this film it says this time it's personal. Why? Just tell me why. It's all weird, really weird. I don't like it. I like it how in the second one, this scientific lady came along and says, sharks don't take things personally, Mr. Brody. And some films later in Jaws 4, The Revenge, the thing on the bottom says, this time is personal. What, personal for the family or just personal for the shark? Makes no sense at all. It makes no sense. And it makes no sense why they moved to the Bahamas for a holiday and then the shark comes along, even though it doesn't goes across. I don't know, because number 3 is really strange and bizarre. Then George 4 comes along and thought, make it even more weirder and creepy and stupid. So so that's just all I got with this film. And why in the flipping hell is the Jaws animatronic shark is roaring like, "Rah, I'm gonna eat you, rah." Seriously, it doesn't happen in 1, 2, and 3. Just this film. And I hate it because I hate it when it happens in this film because the other films don't do it. It kind of has like a wah sort of sound to them, but that's because that's what they do. They don't have a Tom and Jerry wah. They just have this sort of. Actually, I don't know anymore. But oh my god, this is horrible. And I don't know what I can say about this, but just say it's rubbish, horrible, doesn't make any sense, and yeah, that's all I got. And Lorraine Gary is the only one related to the other Jaws films franchise, even though she wasn't in the 3rd movie. She was only in 1 and 2, as you know, and now she comes back in number 4 thinking, oh hello, another surviving actor here, and like she has some kind of feelings for the shark, like she has a sort of connection going on, and I don't know why that is. That's all I got. Yeah, this is all I got. I don't know why. And Michael Caine is falling in love with Lorraine Gary character Ellen Brody. I don't know what that is anymore. Yeah, that's it. It's totally rubbish, doesn't make any lot of sense, and yeah. Anyway guys, I'll see you on the next video or the next movie review or something like that, and hope you have a good day or good night or whenever you're watching this video, and I'll see you all next time, maybe for a YouTube short, YouTube video, like a YouTube live thingy. Yeah, I'll see you all next time. Bye. I just watched today on the 13th of April, and what I watched today was Cool Jaws. I don't know what to say about this film because it's obviously supposed to be bad, or maybe not supposed to be bad, but probably I thought because there's like 4 movies so far, let's make another one that's going to be really worse than, The Revenge of Jaws. And even though it's not with the Revenge in the 4th one, it's just like a shark going to the Bahamas and killing the Brody family, really. But anyway, yeah, this has nothing to do with the Brody family. It's supposed to be about this guy having a daughter or something like that who owns a dolphin theme park, And there's other sort of drama stories in this film with some teenage, early 20s kids trying to be bullying this other guy, and the thing is they kill the shark at the very end, but that's the whole thing about all the other Jaws films. The thing is, with the other Jaws films, they try their best to kill it first. To say, in this one, they're like, screw it, we're just going to kill it later on because we just want to focus on other dramas in this film. And we think, no, there's no such thing as Cruel Jaws, there's no such thing as this movie, it's probably some made-up movie. It is not a made-up movie. I watched it today, and it's not bad, but it's not worse, and it's not good, and it's not excellent. It's like meh. That's what I think of this movie. It's meh. The fourth one was rubbish, but this one, to do with badness and worst, is meh. It's not the best worst film ever made, but it's a meh worst film ever made because it's not okay. It's even worse than the fourth one. But I mean, like, you know, when sometimes you think, how can I explain it? I don't know how to explain it. So, yeah, I watched this film and I think it's not that good. Then you think, oh, it's going to be even worse than Jaws the Revenge, and it is worse than Jaws the Revenge. But you know, when sometimes you think, what the heck? We're just going to watch it, see what it's all about. And they use the same clips from, you know, when they show the shark. Some of it is like, some of it is it's a new shark animatronic, really, but most of the other scenes when you see them getting attacked by the shark is by used from other Jaws films, Jaws 1, Jaws 2, Jaws 3, Jaws 4, and they use the same clips, and it really bugs me because I knew that even before I watched the film. Some people say, oh, they use the same clips from the other films, and that's what happened. So yeah, sorry for if this review is short. I didn't mean it like that. It's just the film is so long, but this review is so short. I'm so sorry because I don't know what else to say about it, really. Not because in any other review I did recently I haven't got Scooby what to say. I don't. It's just I just feel like this movie is even worse to explain. You know what I mean? Because there's no interesting story to it. It's just ripping off the first one. Because, oh, it's a tiger shark. That's what they said in the first Jaws film, and this is what they said in this film as well. And it's nothing to do with the Brody family. It's just the extra family doing a dolphin theme park and then getting distracted by killing a shark at the very end of the film. It really annoys me when they just think, why don't we just kill it now? Why don't we just kill it in the middle of the film? No, they planning how to kill the shark. The thing is, as I said before, in the other films, they say, oh yes, we need to figure out how to kill the shark, and in this film they're like, whatever. People are getting killed. Let's focus about this girl. Nobody really focus on the girl that much. If the story was just focus on the girl and her father having a dolphin theme park. That's all the story we want to talk about. It has nothing to do with the shark. And this film is rubbish. I think it's worse than the, if I'm saying this correctly, it's worse than Jaws the Revenge. You think Jaws the Revenge is the worst Jaws film or the worst film ever made? No, Cruel Jaws is the worst film ever made. And I'm gonna blame whoever wrote this film is thick to know how to make an excellent final installment of Jaws. But anyway, what do you think? Put in the comments down below and I'll see you next time. Bye. I can't go. I need to say much more, but I can't. It really annoys me. What else can I say about it?